everybody. Welcome to my little corner where there is no wrong way to play with paper, and I hope you're having a wonderfully blessed day. I'd be honored if you took this moment and you just like that video with that thumbs up and you just subscribe. I'm already messing up. Subscribe to my channel and go on adventures with me, smile, have fun, play with paper, scrap, make embellishments. I don't know. I never know what's going to happen here, to be quite honest. But we do have a lot of fun. So please take a moment just to do that. It helps me a lot and I am very, very, very appreciative. Now, with that said, today we are doing another video with the scrapping with quilt blocks. So I'm going to do another quilt block example today. And this quilt block is called the Ribbon Star Block. Sounds complicated. It's not. I don't even know why it's named this, to be honest. It does kind of look like a star. I'll give it that. It does kind of look like a star. Now, I'm going to put the quilt block up here. I did find a picture of it this time, and we are going to have some fun. All right, so I will do the example in a 12 by 12. At the end of the video, I will show you two layouts that I've created. One will be what we do here, and the other one will be in a 6 by 6 block. So there are other options. You could go even smaller. I mean, you could take a 6 by 6. I wouldn't even want to know how small those pieces would have to be, but you could do it if you wanted to do so. In the description, if you hit that little arrow underneath the video, it will give you the measurements that you need. And honestly, this one's pretty simple. It's not hard at all. It's a 3 by 3 to do a 12 by 12, and it's a 1.5 by 1.5 to do a 6-inch square. So let's just do it. Let's have some fun. All right, so you see that I have a template. Now, there are several ways you can do this, and as I go through it, I will talk about the different ways. But if you want your base to be a solid color, there's no sense in you cutting up pieces. So I'm going to show you the way to do that on this one. However, if you want the squares that make the star pop off to be a different color, which I will show you, both of the ones I did do that, then everything is a 3 by 3 block. The triangles that you will use to create the stars are still 3 by 3 blocks to do a 12 by 12 square, but we just cut them in half. Very simple. Line your corners up on your cutting device, whichever one you have. Like I use the Friskers one. So when I line it up, let me use this piece of paper here. And I don't know if this will even come off on camera, but take your corners. Don't worry about lining this up. You can't do it. But take your corners, use your guide that's on your cutter, and make sure those corners are on that cutting guide. Because if you cut it a little bit off, you're going to have spaces and you're not going to like it. So the hardest part about this square, the block, the ribbon star block, is cutting your papers as close as possible. Now, with that said, it does not have to be perfect. There's no wrong way. And I have had some that were a little off. In fact, one of the ones I will show you was a little off, and I just adjusted my layout to cover it up. It's that simple. We can embellish with it, put a photo, a journaling block, whatever you want to do, okay? But if it drives you crazy and you're OCD to make it line up perfectly, which sometimes I am one of those people, so I have no hate for those people, trust me when I say that the most important thing you can do is take a moment and cut your papers as close as you can, okay? A 6 by 12 double-sided sheet of paper will do this layout. Okay, so if you have a scrappy piece and you like it, and most double sides, they usually go together, and you want to do a no-brainer, just pick a double-sided piece of paper that is 6 by 6 in your scraps, and or if you want to start with a brand new one, that's okay too. There's no wrong way to do it, and you will be able to create this layout that I'm about to show you. And with that said, let's have some fun. Okay, so what you're going to do is the first one, you are going to line up in your corner, and this is your spacer, okay? And my spacer, I'm going to washi tape it down just so it doesn't move, because it is important that my corners line up, okay? So a little piece of washi tape on there, and you're gonna use the same piece of washi tape over and over. We we can all spare some washi, right? And then your first block, again, I will put it up here. The first block is basically 2 triangles. If you look at that bottom row on there, you're going to see triangles. However, 2 triangles make a square, right? So all we are going to do is we are going to glue, tape, however you would like to adhere it, down here. And I'm just putting a little bit because I may have to move it. Sometimes you do have to shift, okay? Now, we don't need to do anything here because we're using this background as the paper. If you were going to use a different block and not use your background, then you would put your other square, let's say it's this one, right there, okay? But we're not doing that in this layout. I am just using this, what is this, a beige, off-white, I don't know what, cream, whatever you would like to call it, okay? And so the next one is going to go here. Okay, you can see it in the pattern. I can't even think today. That's not different from any other day, right? And then you're just going to line up these corners and line it up with the edge here, okay? You see that on the edge and push it down. Now we don't need to do anything here because we know this is a square. It shows us in the pattern. Okay, now the next one, we are going to build, when we don't have contrasting paper, we are going to build off these 2 squares. So it's really important that these are lined up along your edge, and you will see why. Okay, so the next I am going to, we look at our pattern again, and we're starting at the bottom. I'm going to have one here. So I will put it down here. And I usually push this paper down, and just like that, if you line up this corner and this corner, it will be straight. You do not have to stress about that. Now we have another block here. So we're going to do the exact same thing, okay? And make sure you get that corner. And there we go, okay? So here, if you look, we have a square, we have another square, we have a square, and we have a square. We have done a row. That's what that's called in the quilting world, is a row. Now we're going to work on finishing this row because we've already started this one. We've done this block. If you look in the sketch, we've done this square, and now we need to finish this square. So our triangle is going to go here, okay? Just like that. I'll do the exact same thing. I will line up. See how important it is that they line up? That's why you want to take that time in the beginning, and you want to cut your papers as best you can. We're making a large star. Okay, and on this side, we're going to do the exact same thing. This is very quick. It honestly is. It'll take you longer to cut the papers than it will be to put it together. I promise, I promise. Line up my corners, line up my points, which is here, right? Now we have row 1 and we have row 2. And when I get the entire pattern, you'll be able to see the squares better, okay? Now we're going to go to row 3, and we only have 4 rows. We're going to take this triangle and we want it to go this way. So we're just going to put a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect amount of tape. You just want a tad. You can always go back and glue it down. Now when you're doing this one, make sure you line up on this edge as best as you can, okay? And these can overlap a little bit here on this. It's more important that you overlap, or that you line this edge up, and you can just kind of tuck it in there if it's a tiny bit over. Like I said, the more precise, that's the word I'm looking for, that you cut your papers, the easier this will be, okay? And it takes practice. I will not lie. It does take practice. Okay, so, but it's not hard. I mean, we cut paper every day, right? Not hard. And I'm lining up this edge. And just like that, there we go. So now I'm doing this one and then this one. Here's why. I don't want to have to try to figure this out. It's a little bit hard. So I'm going to then do the middle blocks, which is easy, right? Because this one goes this way and I can line it up against this one, and this one goes the opposite. Okay, and then you are going to see the square that's in the middle. And we'll line up this side as best we can. Remember, you can always tuck in where they meet. Do it here in the edge, okay? And we got this a little bit. See there? One of mine is just a little bit short, so I'm going to have to be careful when I line this up here, okay? But that's okay, because hopefully that'll fill in that gap, okay? We'll stress about it if that happens. I don't think it will, but if it does, we'll worry about it then. Okay, so just like this. And the last one, see the middle square? We'll go here, just like, let me think about this for a hot minute. See how that filled in that gap? We don't need to worry about it. Push the paper down on the edge so you can push this up against. And just like that, we have made a ribbon star block. And now you can see the squares a little better, right? Here's a square, here's a square, here's a square, here's a square. Then I have a square in the middle, right? Does it make sense now? Everything, you guys are answering me, just so you know. In my head, you're like, yeah, Ginger, I get it. Oh my gosh. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I've mentioned a couple times about inking a paper to make it stand out. So I'm going to ink these pieces, and we're just going to put them right back, okay? And I want you to see the difference. So there's that one. And just like that. Okay, so what, oh, see, this, I told you my dauber was getting hairy. I'm gonna have to make sure I don't just wipe those, because there's ink on those little bits that came off of there. And I am inking pretty aggressively, okay? So I would ink it, and you can ink these before you set them down. I just wanted to show you the difference, okay? And I'm going to put it back down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to ink them all, and I will come back and you can see the difference, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, so look at the difference when I ink this and how much the star stands out. Now, there are some other tips that I've kind of either wrote in text and mentioned or not. Now, if this was a pale pink paper, I would not use black to ink it. I would use a darker pink. That'll just like reinforce your color palette. If it was a light orange and a yellow and I had an orangey yellow ink, I would ink in that. So do you think we all buy these ink pads of all these different colors and then we don't use them? Well, this is a way that you can use them. And I will say with the quilt block, the tone on tone is my favorite, hands down. So that is the difference of how it looks. I'll try to take a screenshot of the video and I'll show you the difference before, and this is what it looks like now. It definitely 100% makes it pop off. It's really pretty. I like this block. I like it in both the 12 by 12 and the 6 by 12. I think that I probably do it more in this, or 6 by 6, not 6 by 12, sorry. Oh goodness. I think I do it more in the 6 by 12 just because, like yesterday, I want the block to stand out. I want to have done the work and people to notice it. So that's just me. However, there is one way to do this in a 12 by 12, and I'm going to show you in my example, and the block pops 100%. If you have a 4 by 4, 4.5 by 4.5, sometimes depending on how precise you are here with your thing, photo, oh, you can put it right here and then just put a title. And I did do that in an example. So let me get that for you. So here is the example. These are some flowers that I got after I had my gallbladder removed in 2016. And I just wanted to, I have another whole page about my surgery. So you guys have heard me say in the past that I make charger pages, and then the one that would be next to it would simply be a 12 by 12 with a lot of pictures on it. And that's what that will be. This was my favorite part of that surgery because surgery is not fun. I found out I'm allergic to staples. I already knew that I was allergic to most tape adhesive. And I woke up the next morning with blisters, probably that high, yeah, over my incision. So it was fun. It was so fun. Not at all. So this is one of my favorite ways to use a 12 by 12 design of this block. I keep forgetting what it's called. A ribbon star block. We always called this a variation of the 9 blocks, but it is actually called the ribbon star block. And I know I'm talking in tongues here to some people. Others who quilt will understand that. But this is my favorite way to use this in a 12 by 12 because it just stands out, right? And of course I got to use red because there's some little red bits in my flowers. So lilies are my favorite flower on planet Earth because I have beautiful memories gathering wild tiger lilies with my dad as a kid. And I love lilies. So my husband always gets me lilies, which I will tell you in Montana is not easy. It's easier here in Texas, but when we lived in Montana, it was not always an easy thing to do in January and February. So anyway, so this is my example of using this in a 12 by 12. I will usually just do a big title and I will use it as a charger page. That's what I was getting to. So this makes a beautiful charger page. It makes a beautiful page to just do journaling because you can use this center block for journaling. And then if you wanted to do some 3 by 3 photos, you could put them on the corners. That's another way I have used this block. This is all the journaling, and then I've done photos here, smaller ones. So you can definitely use this. You can also cover it up if you want to. There's no rule at all. There's no wrong way to do it. That's just my favorite ways to use this block. Then I did do a 6 by 6, and this one is of my pretty garden. My husband and I, we always are doing projects, always doing projects. Even here, like, it's insane. This coming weekend, we're building a pergola over my garden. So here are the 2 6 by 6 blocks. And you will notice that in this one and in this one, I did not use my base. I had individual squares, and you can see this, I left this way on purpose. It didn't line up perfectly. It didn't. So I am going to put a few more little embellishments on this page. I'm not quite done yet, but I needed to film this because I have to do some other things today. So this is driving me crazy. And I got these beautiful embellishments from my scrappy friend Lori. And how perfect are they to go with this paper? I was going to pass them along because she was so generous, and then I messaged her. She didn't care, but I felt bad because I told her I was going to pass them along. But they work perfect with my paper. So I got this. It's driving me crazy. I messaged her and said, instead of passing them along, I'm going to use them. So now, I must have cut a piece of paper wrong because I had a boo-boo behind here and I have this little boo-boo. Well, I am going to cover this. I have another flower that Miss Lori made, and I will cover it and just embellish like this. And I purposely have not finished gluing this down. I may put this one over here. I think I might. We'll just do that real quick. Don't mind me. I'm gonna be really gentle. I don't want to tear the parts here. So what I will do is I will embellish it. There we go. That's better. In that way. And then your eyes, not exactly what I had in mind, but sometimes that happens. I mean, you can still kind of see the block. I will usually put my title over the block, but that is an example of doing it in 6 by 6. And all of these squares are 1.5 by 1.5 to make a 6 by 6 block. Now, you could do this, put 1 block here and 1 block here, and then you could have photos here, and a title. You could do 3 blocks and then have a title. It really does focus, one, on your work, the pattern of the block, and two, it focuses on the photo. I mean, it honestly does. You could do this in so many different ways. You can turn it and do that way. It's just like a happy horizontal. It is, that Miss Janet has taught us. And so I hope that you will have fun with it. I am not going to do another video until next Wednesday. Yeah, next Wednesday. I have other things planned and already done, and so I will not be doing another video, but also because I want people to have a chance to play with the 3 patterns that we have at this point. But we will do another one, and after that's done, I will continue to add to this over time. We will just readdress it a couple times a month, and I will add a couple new patterns, and we will just keep it going. I'm so excited. I love seeing what you guys are creating and what you're doing. And keep showing me. It's so fun. It truly is so fun. Don't forget that you can ink and you can do it in different sizes. I will put everything in the description so you know what size to cut your papers. And just like that, this one is easy. I almost feel like maybe I should have done this one first. I don't know. Maybe I started with the hard one. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you for watching me. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.